The head of Ofqual made it clear that the grades fiasco was not entirely the fault of an algorithm. It was a conscious decision taken by the Secretary of State for Education. It is extraordinary that the Secretary of State is still ducking responsibility for just this latest of shambles, which caused so many young people across the country serious distress last month. The head of the Equality and Human Rights Commission said that Ofqual must consider the equality impacts of these results. Now, Ofqual did produce a paper in April this year on the subject, but that was well before the Secretary of State decided to use the algorithm to calculate grades. So will the Secretary of State publish the equality impact assessment of the algorithm? I did ask this question last week, but didn't get a straight answer. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I am respectfully asking again. Will the Secretary of State also publish or commit to publish an equality impact assessment for whatever arrangements are put in place for next year? We already know that homeschooled and independent learners were left without any grades at all after their exams were cancelled as a result of having no teacher to give a centre assessment grade to fall back on. This accounts for tens of thousands of pupils UK-wide. So what assessment has he conducted of the impact on these young people, and will he publish it? And what, Madam Deputy Speaker, about those young people who are now who are going into work full-time whilst also preparing to sit their autumn exams? There's no level playing field for them. Naturally, there are conversations about the possibilities of pushing back the dates of exams next year to give students some time to catch up. But will the Secretary of State give us assurances about how those decisions will be reached and who he will be consulting with on these changes before they are finalised? I will give way. No, probably shouldn't, as I've been given a strong steer from Madam Deputy Speaker. My apologies. As I look ahead to the next year, as we all look ahead to the next year, I look at the gov.uk guidance on the 4 tiers of local level restrictions on education which could be used. It is clear that remote education could be used in 3 of the 4 of the government's scenarios. Working parents will be looking at this and wondering what guarantees the government will provide that their children will continue to receive a good education over the next year if in 3 of those 4 scenarios they are going to be responsible for home schooling. So will the Minister listen to parents' groups like September for Schools and reconsider the Liberal Democrat amendment to the emergency COVID legislation which called for a guarantee that families will be able to expect a minimum standard of education and the government will give schools the necessary resources to deliver it? Ultimately, Madam Deputy Speaker, we do need full disclosure of these documents as the motion calls for, and we must have an investigation into the decisions and evidence that led to this debacle. We must learn from this episode and ensure it is never, ever repeated, especially if we are in a position where exams could be cancelled because of further lockdowns. It is time that the Minister commissioned an independent investigation into the mishandling of GCSE A-level BTEC results.